The Japanese live-action movie just made its way onto Netflix, and, well, you don't need to see it before you know what you're getting. Look, the biggest failure of this movie really comes down to two related aspects: time and characters. When condensing for time, FMA chooses to focus on adding as many iconic moments as possible. As much as I love seeing the Gate or Mustang versus Lust, the leads on this project made a poor decision. None of these scenes work. And it isn't the fault of the mise-en-scène or the CGI, though those elements definitely don't help. No, the issue is that I get nothing from them. And why is that? Because when the movie chooses to focus on jumping from scene to scene, we lose the characters. What motivates Wenry to tag along for the whole movie? How does his death affect our dogs of the military? What does it feel like for Al to question his humanity? And what makes Tucker's insinuation that Al isn't real take hold? By trying to include so much, we don't leave time for the characters to react. Many of these moments are iconic because they're character-defining moments. They change a character's trajectory or establish morals or rules. If the viewers and the characters don't have time to be impacted, we lose the satisfaction of facing future challenges or seeing how our protagonist has grown. Fullmetal Alchemist fails us at many points, and for me the biggest failure and best example is the chimera plotline. So why this aspect? For one huge reason. Nina's transformation into a chimera is one of the greatest, if not the greatest defining moment in the series, both in terms of characterization and setting expectations. Now, to fully understand how the movie got this wrong, we're going to compare it to the Brotherhood adaptation. So let's start with the anime. After being introduced to the Tuckers for research, Ed and Al spend a fair portion of their day with Nina. Granted, Ed at first is apprehensive and would rather study, but Alexander gets him to join in and he actually ends up having a lot of fun. When they're about to leave, Al promises Nina that they'll spend more time together. After some exposition about Tucker establishing his pressure to pass the assessment, we cut to the next day where Ed and Al are studying while talking to Nina. Nina goes over how she feels lonely. Even though she has Alexander to play with, she misses her dad. We get a flash to Ed and Al's youth, showing their distance from their own father. This moment lays the foundation for the sibling-esque relationship. Both the Elrics and Nina are disconnected from their fathers. Having known what it's like, Ed goes to Big Brother mode. He puts aside his work and plays with Nina. We're given a montage showing how happy these three kids seem to be. This moment gives them a break from the pain and loneliness that they feel and allows the audience to have a breath of fresh air. Start falling in love with Nina just like the Elric brothers do. The next time that we cut back to them, we're greeted by the setting sun. This implication of time is necessary. Although we don't see it, given the time lapse, we assume that they spent the entire day together. This causes us to believe that the Elrics and Nina have a strong bond. This is further established by the shared excitement when Tucker offers to play with Nina the following day. As Nina rushes over to give her dad a hug, Ed and Al share a smile, happy that Tucker seems to be reaching out to Nina, unlike Hohenheim did to them. You're left feeling happy, eagerly awaiting the next day to see little Nina smiling away, feeling joy that her and her father finally reconnected. You're now emotionally involved and set up for the events to come. So how does the movie set us up? Well, Ed, Al, and Wenry go to the Tuckers to find out about Dr. Margot. In what is a nearly shot-for-shot recreation of Alexander jumping on Ed, we get introduced to the Tucker family and get a shot of Nina and Tucker. Cut to Ed and Tucker talking for a little over a minute about Tucker's upcoming evaluation. Briefly during this scene, Nina runs past the room with Wenry and Al, clearly having fun with Al. Then we get back to more exposition dump. After a quick cut to the scene with Mustang and Hughes, we come back to the Tuckers. Ed goes with Tucker to see the chimera projects and get some more exposition, but this time about the mom chimera. Meanwhile, Al, Nina, and Wenry are lying in the backyard. Like the anime library scene, Nina is talking about being lonely and how she misses spending time with her dad. Since Ed's not there, it's Wenry who takes his place in saying that they should play for the rest of the day. This scene does not work for many reasons. First off, Ed spends no time with Nina at all. Besides seeing her when Alexander jumped on him and when she ran past in the hallway, He has not said a single word to her, let alone been in the same vicinity as her. They aren't even in a single frame together until Wenry's having a flashback, and even then, it's a high-angled shot you only see for a few seconds, and Ed's barely in it. Ed has no idea that Nina feels lonely. Sure, Tucker mentions he hasn't been able to spend time with her, but from everything Ed's seen, the girl's nothing but smiles. He has no attachment to her, and this is by far the biggest issue. The second issue is that Wenry takes Ed's line instead of Al. Al would still have the same emotional connection Ed does in the anime, since Hohenheim ignored him too. It would make sense for Al to offer to play with Nina with that connection in mind. He would follow Ed's example in an attempt to be a big brother, knowing that it helped him when his father wasn't around. Then when Al finds out about the Nina Alexander chimera, he could get upset, which makes Ed mad and then act out. The third and final reason why this doesn't work is that there's no established ellipsis of time. These events take place in an afternoon. They play, they sit down, they play again. I know within the movie time constraints they couldn't go all 2003 FMA on us, but at least in Brotherhood they implied that it was 2 days. Relationships grow better over time. The more time you imply, the better, the stronger, the closer the relationship will seem to the audience. At this point, they seem like friendly acquaintances rather than having a pseudo-sibling relationship. So already looking at the setup, Ed and the audience won't have the same gut punch when the chimera is revealed. Hell, I know I wasn't going to talk about the mise-en-scène, but even the imagery doesn't set us up. In the anime, it's raining, a sign that something bad's gonna happen. And when the boys find Tucker, it's dark. It's ominous. Here, it's sunny. She's staying next to the window. The art direction does not lead me to think that it's anything but a normal day. How am I supposed to be scared if the aesthetic doesn't make me feel it? But I digress. Let's go back to the characters. In the anime, when Ed pieces together who the chimera is, he can't help but see Nina as Al. Nina was changed by a trusted family member's alchemy and had no control over what happened to her. She is suffering, and she can't change back. What if this was the same for Al? Ed's whole goal, everything he has done to this point, would be for nothing. Ed attacks Tucker not only for the pain he's caused Nina, but out of fear that Tucker's words are true, that they aren't different. This moment aligns the viewer and Ed under the same rule. Human life cannot be used, period. Using human life only leads to negative and irreversible consequences. Now we understand what it must have felt like for Ed when he almost lost Al. We understand why he won't rest until he fixes his mistake. And it's painful to see him lose someone again. Although the dialogue between these versions is mostly the same, it doesn't have the same feel. Ed goes straight into punching the crap out of Tucker, and Al just stands there watching the doorway. And Al's vague promise also throws off the tone. By saying, "We aren't capable of turning you back yet," if this movie gets a sequel, they might be able to, which undermines the impact. Ed and Al know that there's nothing that they can do to reverse Nina. She is a cautionary tale, and at this point, a possible reality the boys must face about themselves. The Philosopher's Stone is a fairy tale that they're chasing, because without it, they lose all hope. By implying that Nina is fixable means that this isn't as tragic, and doesn't have the same high-stakes implication it does in the anime. This scene, this movie, does not work, because when they have a chance to build upon characters and explore implications, it doesn't. Once the scene is over, Ed never thinks about Nina again. He just goes off to find Lab 5, never mentioning her. In the anime,
Let's play.
well, I think it's safe to say that the scene had a deep impact in his character. The Fullmetal Alchemist movie isn't a good adaptation. It's a good case study. It's a good reason to go back and watch either version of the anime. Which is what I'm going to be doing, because these characters deserve better. Hey, thanks for taking the time to watch this. I know this is very similar to Mother's Basement, and I swear I was working on it before his video came out. So if you want to go check out his video, the link's in the description below. While you're down there, feel free to do the commenting and liking and such. Until next time, I'm Ray, and this has been an Anime Rant.